Welcome back to Minecraft, my name is Scorpios, and today we're back at the RambleSMP server. So over the past few episodes we have been doing a lot of construction work inside of our survival base. And we're now seeing a very nice base unfolding right in front of our eyes. And I really do appreciate the tremendous support for this series. And by the way, if you're new here, make sure to check out the previous episodes, which are going to be linked down below. But with all of the construction going on inside of our base, we do have to take a moment and catch up. And in fact, we do have a lot of work that needs to be done inside of our base. Instead of adding new buildings to this base, we're going to clean things up a little bit around here, which is going to allow us for more massive base expansion down the road. And oh boy, we have a lot of things to do in a very short episode. So let's go ahead and get things started. And by the way, if you're new to this survival series on my channel, make sure to leave a like. I will be releasing a brand new episode from this survival base every week. So in order to get things started, the very first thing that I need is a flat wall. So using these wooden signs, I'm going to put down a few projects that we need to finish in today's episode. And I am feeling very creative right now, so let's go ahead and put down some ideas. And after some brainstorming, I came up with 3 projects that we can work on. So the first project is a massive road development. And obviously I start every single one of these episodes with some type of road work. So this project is going to be different. It is going to be on a much larger scale. It is going to be something that is much needed for our base. And after that, we also have a new storage room. And we're also going to get busy with getting some bees, which is going to be very helpful down the road for this survival series. And after some thinking, I've decided to start with the project that is at the middle here, which means we're going to start first by working on a new storage room. So some of you may ask, why exactly do I need a new storage room? In a previous episode, I built up this storage system, but it is actually quite a small storage room, and this is more like a temporary solution for the beginning of this season. But now that we are almost 1 month into the season, it is time to think bigger. And another reason for building a larger storage system is that I am quite literally running out of space. So with all of the mining that I'm doing off camera, I am actually filling up a lot of these barrels here. And very soon I will be running out of space to store my cobblestones. And luckily I do have another space nearby where I can build a much larger storage space. So let's go take a look right now. So some of you might remember that 2 episodes ago I built up this tree farm over here in my base. And this tree farm is actually quite massive on the inside. And off camera, I have done a little bit of work to get this project started. So let's take a look right here. So right here, I have started a side entrance right underneath this tree farm here. And let's go take a look inside. And whoops, it is almost complete darkness in here. But this is also a great space, so we can use this massive space here for a bulk storage area. And in fact, I just did some measurement, and it is almost 40 blocks from this end of this room here to the other end of this room. So this is a huge space. And in order to fill up the space, we're going to need a lot of chests, which in my case, I'm actually going to use wooden barrels. But either way, it is going to require a lot of wood. So as always, I'm going to go grab some materials and I will be right back. So I have grabbed some materials, and the very first thing that I got are these end rods, which are going to light up this area here. So all that I'm doing here is to provide some light source in this otherwise very dark area. So in this shulker box here, we have an entire chest full of logs. And the other shulker box that I have here is actually empty at the moment, but right outside of this building here, let's close the door behind us. So right outside of this building here, I have piled up some quartz ores. In fact, if we move even closer, this whole tower is going to look even taller. Look at that. That is ridiculously tall. So anyways, this thing here is going to give us enough quartz blocks, which will allow us to build a floor for our new storage area. And obviously I have to find a way to get up there. So it is time to take out our rockets and try to fly all the way up there. Okay, here we go. Let's give it a try. Oh, I just missed that. So very unfortunately, I actually died up there while I was trying to land on the 4x4 landing area. So I'm going to pick up my diamond gears so that they do not despawn. And I think my elytra is still up there. So I have selected a safer method for getting up there, which is to use ladders. So I'm going to try to make my way up there, and I feel like I really should go practice my elytra skills. So I'm going to go ahead and gather all of the quartz, and I will be right back. Alright, so we have finally crushed up all of the ores, so let's go take a look at how much we got. And as you can see here, we almost got an entire box full of quartz. So I'm going to go ahead and turn these into solid blocks, and after that we're going to jump right into a very short time lapse of us building up this storage area. Alright, I hope you enjoyed this very short time lapse. We did a little bit of construction work, so let's go check out what we built. Alright, so here's the door that leads into our new storage room. And as you can see here, for this door here, I used a double door design, which looks pretty good. So let's open up and go inside. And after getting inside here, we now come to the actual storage area of this storage room. So as you can see here, I have kept the same color scheme, purple and a lot of orange inside of this storage room. And inside here we have 4 chambers full of these wooden barrels, which we can store a lot of stuff. And I guess that in a way this design is a little bit outdated because I'm not using any of the new 1.17 blocks, because this is not a part of my base that I'm going to show that often on camera. And behind this wall here, we also have a little bit of an empty space. Let me get rid of this block here. So we also have an empty space right here, which later on in this season, I'm going to turn into a lounge for myself. But for the time being, I'm going to seal up this wall here, which means it is time to move on to the next project. Alright, so let's get back to our planning board. And it does look like it is actually dark outside, but let's take a look here. So we have completed our new storage room, so it is time to take down this sign here. And the next project that I would like to start is actually this one right here, Getting Busy. With the introduction of the new 1.17 blocks, there is one block in particular that I would really like to incorporate into my base for this season, which is a copper block. We can actually use copper blocks to spice up the style here quite a lot. But as we know, copper blocks have this thing where it oxidizes over time and loses its bright orange color, which means it is time for us to start thinking of building a bee farm. And of course, in today's episode, we do not actually have that much time, so the bee farm will have to wait for another episode. And in the meantime, in today's episode, we are going to start the process by gathering some beehives. So in between episodes, I cleared out this hill here and turned it into a flat piece of land. So as you may know, beehives will generate when a tree grows near a flower, which is why I grabbed a bunch of flowers. So let's start by laying these flowers down in a straight line. And I've also brought with me a stack of saplings. And if I remember correctly, birch trees are one of the trees that can actually generate beehives. And as they grow over time, we should see some beehives generating naturally. And as we wait for these trees to grow, we are going to start with our next project. So the next project that I would like to start with is this one here, Massive Road Development. So in order to introduce this project, we are actually going to venture outside of my base. We actually have a few other members of this server who have set up their bases in the nearby area. If we keep flying east there are actually a lot more bases to this direction. And as you can see here, people have actually started developing a very complex and comprehensive road system. But it looks to me that one of the problems that we are having is that the road system only extends to this area here. And as far as I know, we actually do not have any road that is connecting any bases in this area here, because as you can see here, this area has a lot of hills, which means that developing a road system in this area here is going to require a lot of tree chopping as well as terraforming. But as you can see here, near my base, I have started clearing out the forest right here because I would really love to start developing a road. And this way I can connect my base with the other bases in this area nearby. And as you can see here, so far in this season, we have already developed a block palette for building our road. So early on in this season, I decided that I will be using deep slate blocks for paving road. And for the sidewalks, we will be using these blocks here. And that is because these blocks are quite abundant, and with all of the base expansions that we have planned, I think it is time for us to get a more complex road system started, which is going to allow us to expand this base even further later on in this season. And as you can see here, the sun is now setting, so I'm going to go to bed, and after that I'm going to grab some materials and we will jump into a second time lapse of today's episode. Alright, here we go. And that was actually quite a fun building exercise. It actually took me quite a while to work out the underbelly, so to speak, of this bridge here. And what you're seeing here is really only a small sample of this entire road that is going to be developed throughout this season. So eventually we will have this road connected all the way down to over there. And right now it still looks like this road is lacking something. And in the meantime, there is one more thing that I would like to do here, which is to add some more decoration to this road here. So I'm going to give this a try. Here we go. So here we basically create this lamppost using andesite blocks, and on top here we're going to put down some end rods, and above these end rod here we're going to put down some iron trapdoors. Here we go. And here we go. This is a very simple street lamp design that I came up with. So here I'm just going to replicate this design for a few more times along this road section here, so I will be right back. And we have done some work on this road here, and look at these street lamps are actually looking quite fantastic. And of course, as we expand this road even further, we're going to add even more street lamps. And with that said, let's go ahead and take down, wow, this looks really nice. So we're going to go ahead and take down our second project for today. And here it is. I guess there's always road development work for us to do in this base, but since we are running out of time today, I think it is time for us to take down this sign. So that leaves us with the very last project of today, which is this one here. And let's go check on this side of our base. And at a distance, I can already see bees spawning in the tree saplings that we had placed down earlier. And in fact, as you can see here, there is a beehive right here. So we're going to collect this one here. And another beehive down here, so I'm going to take this one out as well. Okay, here we go. So as I mentioned, the reason for getting these beehives is so that we can start breeding bees for a bee farm. And believe it or not, this is actually going to be the very first bee farm I have ever built. So the very last thing that we're going to work on today is a small expansion inside of this building here, where we're going to create a chamber for breeding bees. And in between episodes, I'm going to be breeding bees so that in the next episode, I'll be able to present to you guys my very first bee farm design. So we're going to take down all of these blocks here and start working on an expansion. Alright, as you can see here, we have built a fully enclosed bee breeding room. And here we have a small chamber that is light up with some end rods. In today's episode, we are not actually going to go ahead and breed any bees. And instead, the last thing that we're going to work on here is actually outside. So let's go take a look. And I still can't believe how well this road turned out looking. This is actually looking quite nice. But as you can see here, over here, the backside of this bee breeding room is actually quite ugly, to be honest. So we're going to take down some blocks here. And we're going to introduce some new blocks on the corners here. And we're also going to cover up this area with a makeshift roof. And for the final step here, we're going to lay down some of these decorative blocks. So as you can see here, we're pretty much using the same wall decoration here as we did over here. Alright, so that is all of the building that we're going to do in today's episode. We actually accomplished quite a lot. So let's go ahead and take down this sign here. Before we wrap up today's episode, we're going to take a final look of our base. And as you can see here, this base is really starting to take shape. But in our future episodes, we still have a lot of work to do in this base. And as always, if you have any suggestions for what buildings you would like to see in this base, please leave a comment and let me know. And that is going to be it for today's episode. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next episode.